What's happening, people? Back with another reaction, back with some more Aha. And we're going to listen to a bonus tune, or a rarity, or an extra track not from one of the albums that people have asked about for a while, and which Jeff recently sent over to me. It might have been shared by one or two others. Again, I get a lot of emails anyway, from the time that I started doing editing work and tutoring work and so on. I get many, many emails a day. And then obviously in the last year, since I started doing this channel differently than I had done in years past and began doing reactions, I now get a crazy amount of emails. So again, it's possible it was already sent to me, but Jeff sent it over recently. And we're talking Driftwood, a tune, if I'm remembering correctly, people said comes from the era of their debut album Hunting High and Low, but was a non-album track. I believe James was saying it's a tune that can be perhaps a bit haunting. So yeah, I'm not quite sure what to expect. I think a couple people have described it in some qualitative way. That is one that sticks out that I think I'm remembering right. And if I'm misattributing that, or if I'm misremembering the nature of the comment about the sound, I do apologize. But that does stand out to me. Nevertheless, Driftwood, it's an object that comes from a vessel or some human construction which has been pulled apart by the forces of the sea, whether the tidal forces themselves or perhaps the dangers that lurk beneath the surface. And a piece of driftwood will eventually drift onto a shore somewhere and lie there as a testament to whatever calamity, whatever destruction, whatever loss of life occurred, at least by implication, if not overtly. So, all these things as metaphors, I think, could be quite profound. So a person as a piece of driftwood, it sounds like they've been through, and in some sense they've been cast aside, and perhaps then the question is what comes next, and does someone approach the driftwood once it comes to rest on some beach somewhere? Again, all sorts of figurative analogies seem possible, so let's find out. This is Aha, Driftwood, I believe a non-album track from the same period as their 1985 debut album, Hunting High and Low. A dark, shadowy, at night sort of feel to it. I'm drifting still, so I ask you fading innocent, and all my youthful rage. Will your hands still touch me when my face has fallen with age? Am I gonna groove of that configuration. I'm drifting still. In the acoustic guitar after the I'm drifting still. tune, and one that definitely sounds, like what I've come to appreciate as the early Aha, synth-driven sort of sound. And yeah, Morton just effortlessly rising up and down vocally. Yeah, a cool tune. I did not pick up a lot of the lyrics on a first listen. I heard bits and pieces. Again, I heard like feeling like a piece of Driftwood in regard to himself, so I feel like that essential metaphor was part of the meaning of the song. But I didn't catch enough of the other bits and pieces to really pull it all together, so have to listen to it some more. And again, I know a number of people will comment, so shout out in advance for any insight, or people talking about what the group has said about the song and so on. But yeah, ultimately a really cool tune that I think could have slotted very easily onto the debut album. Again, a bit more of a nighttime vibe than maybe some others, although, as I quickly learned, which, as I think I made clear pretty early on, maybe even in that first reaction, that, not only just by logic would you not expect any group to always have the same song that they have in or the same atmosphere or vibe that they have in one like hit song that they do in everything else. But even beyond that, I went into this knowing from some Aha fans who had commented it would be cool to do a deep dive that they're more than just Take On Me. But yeah, fair to say, I quickly learned that they have a darker side, certainly sonically, but in some cases, or certainly lyrically, I should say, but in some cases sonically as well. So yeah, this one felt like it did have a bit of a haunting or darker side to it. But I am curious in terms of how that relates to thematically what it means to be, a person who is Driftwood, a person who has perhaps washed ashore after some experience. So yeah, either way, a cool tune. Shout out to those who had commented and suggested this one. Again, still working my way through everything. I'm going to try to go back to another True North one pretty soon, just so I don't, lose the momentum after starting that one. So that may be next, but again, still going to go through the other live ones I've been talking about. And once we get through all of that, including True North and the other official live ones, like I said, I'm going to double back and do some more of the other, unofficial live performances and any other tidbits that might be lying around. And, as I've mentioned for a couple other deep dives where I've gone through most of the catalog, Duran would be a good example. At some point I'm going to start doing second looks, going back and re-listening to a tune now with a bit more experience, a bit more knowledge about what the tune is and what people have said about it and having heard it a few times. And I think it'll be a different type of experience. It'll be less perhaps visceral and in the moment, but perhaps, I'll come to a new understanding and a new appreciation having known the tune more and then going through it in this setting again. So hopefully some of you are still up for that. But again, still a long way to go before we get there. So in any case, let me know what you think of Driftwood. I will see you next time. Peace.